and welcome to our Sponsor Execution Excellence Workshop. I am Jessica Salisbury, Senior Customer Success Manager at AE Ventures. Here with me, I also have Colin Cocaine, our Director of Business Development, and John Galante, our President. Today, we'll be covering what you should be planning for pre-event, how you should be executing on-site during the event, and then how you should be handling your post-event follow-up in order to have success at our events. Starting with pre-event and preparing your team. So after you've set some goals for what you want to accomplish and why you are here with us, staffing is going to be your number one important piece to get started. Remember that staffing is essentially your sales relationship accelerator. You're going to be having face-to-face, one-on-one conversations with builders at the event. So make sure you're sending the right team members who are going to help you achieve the goals that you set, leaders on your sales team, influential and persuasive individuals who are going to carry the conversations with these builders and prospective customers, and strong conversational team members who can guide the guests and get them talking. Remember, for every one-on-one meeting you have, if you have more than 18, you're going to need 2 staff members to accommodate all of these meetings.
So there are a lot of B2B events out there in the world that aren't necessarily the salesperson's realm. This is not one of them. This is an event that's designed for the sales folks, right? And so that's who you need to think about being the primary representatives at this event. And we're hoping you'll send your strongest sellers, the ones that can dig deep for pain and the ones who can be informational as well as persuasive.
Yeah, another thing that I think is important here, again, on the one staff member per 18 meetings, you want to make sure that if you have, even 20 or 25 meetings, that you have an additional person that you think is comfortable having a one-on-one meeting without you. And a lot of the times people will have another person for overflow. If there's someone that doesn't have a scheduled meeting, that a builder or multifamily company that approaches your booth while someone is otherwise engaged, it's nice to have that additional person to make sure that you can engage with that person while you're there.
Yeah, and in addition to the meetings that you'll have scheduled, we do have open time where attendees are walking the show floor, they're checking out booths they don't have a scheduled meeting with. So having additional staff members is always going to help you no matter what. When it comes to planning your exhibit space, I know a lot of you may have that trade show mindset, but your booth space on the show floor is used to host those one-on-one meetings with those individuals. So when you're planning for the space, make sure that you design it in a way that's, one, not going to be too costly to ship materials or take too much time to set up. Really focus on the content of the meetings that are going to be in this space, but decorate the design where it's comfortable, it's an inviting atmosphere, you have the opportunity to showcase the products and services you offer. So for the most part in our events, you'll see a lot of high top tables for the nature of these one-on-one meetings. Some choose to do their meetings in front of a full product display, going right down the line. So having some sort of product kiosk available where you can have tangible elements where builders can touch and feel the products that you have so you can see that they're different from competitors and set you apart. The other piece you want to include is making it collaborative. You're getting these builders face to face. You have them right in front of you. You're asking them questions, getting to know them and their business. We've started incorporating kind of this whiteboard aspect of it. Write out notes, write out things that they call out, make it fun, make it interactive. You want to keep them on the hook. And, as John mentioned earlier, be salesy, but not too forward. So incorporating new elements like this are really going to help with the collaboration aspect, which we've been talking more and more about as of recent, and getting them more interactive.
Yeah, I think that's something that's important that's not shown in the photos here. You'll see a lot of product manufacturers, but a growing number of our clients are platform providers. So just another thing to keep in mind, that if you don't have a physical product, you might want to have, a TV, go down the street, maybe to a Target and purchase a small TV as a display to show your platform. If you don't want to do that, maybe an iPad, something like that. But don't go crazy, of course, but you'll want to make sure that you have something to demo your platform.
We do like the Highboy plus stool height chairs, and that does a few things for you at the event. One is it minimizes the footprint that's occupied by that table. We do think getting somebody somewhat relaxed and seated is going to be more conducive to an open conversation where you could get to the kind of nub of the issue with them. You could get 2 sets of Highboys and 2 chairs into a 10 by 10 space and then accommodate up to 36 one-on-one meetings. So I think that's important. And then just with regard to the whiteboarding, one of the things that we preach is don't just talk product features, benefits, and advantages, talk process supports, right? Builders and multifamily companies are incredibly process-driven companies, especially the biggest of the bigs, but even the smaller ones that have 16,000 parts to build into a house, right? So it's got to be within their process framework. So to me, part of what the discussion should be is the process supports that you have for a builder or multifamily company. And whiteboarding that out a little bit or using that to facilitate a discussion, I think can be a real sales accelerator for our sponsors.
Yeah, it goes a lot with the visual elements. As Colin mentioned, the TV monitors to showcase. The more visual you can get, even for stop-by traffic, just to catch somebody's eye, it's only going to help you for sure. So still focusing on pre-event, this is the opportunity where you'll get to narrow down your target list of who you'll be meeting at the event. And we do that through our new event platform, which actually turns over to an event app, which is pretty new for us, which is exciting. So this platform here will house all of our exhibitors for the event, all of our sponsoring companies with their descriptions. It will hold the event agenda, so you can take a look at the agenda of all the content happening that you can take part in and sit amongst builders in our general session rooms, which are really great networking opportunities as well. But it's also the opportunity to look at all of the attendees. We have been collecting over the coming weeks and months leading up to the event information from all of these builders for you. So we are providing this information up front, and depending on what you're looking for or what you're targeting and who you want to meet with at the event, there's a lot of different data points that you can dig into. So you can see here some of the examples of the different data points for each builder that you'll be able to take a look at. So if you're focusing or looking for a certain company, if you are only interested in certain job titles, such as purchasing managers or owner-operators, you can search and filter by job title. You can look at the size of their company, how many employees they have, the regions that they serve. The builders are also logging in and expressing interest in certain sponsors or product categories. So if you wanted to narrow the target list down by product categories to see any builders who may have expressed interest in your product category, that's a really great place to start. You know, they're already interested in your product category, so you might as well set a meeting with them if they are, in your realm of prospects. You can also look at their targeted number of homes and units that they're building to project this year, as well as their revenue. So take the time. We give you a few weeks before the event to look over all of this data. It's going to really help, in matchmaking. Our system will do a pretty good job of taking everybody that you've expressed interest in and pairing it with as many mutual matches as the builders have expressed, giving you a schedule that is to your liking and really going to be mutually beneficial for both of you. So I do highly suggest spending some time in this platform. Obviously, if you have trouble with it, we're here to help in other ways, but we really want to make sure that you're targeting and getting the schedule of builders that you really want to meet with to make your time worthwhile at the event.
How can they kind of look at this as a group, and how can they, communicate with you preferences that are synthesized across a group, for instance?
Yes, that's a good point. So, once you've narrowed down who you're sending to the event, obviously there may be some local reps or, different regions that focus on different things. You're going to want to set a call with everybody. Instead of kind of leaving it up to everybody on their own, you want to split, who the meetings are with the right reps that are going to be there and make sure that there's no overlap or, repetitiveness. They are individuals. So, for example, a company that we have may be sending 2 to 3 reps. So you want to make sure that you're honing in on the right title and the right individual from that company for the meeting.
How would they rank? Like what's a good process for them to rank it as a group? Would they go on screen with this together and do like a Microsoft Teams meeting and look at that stuff and talk through it? Do they get an Excel sheet from you that helps them do it? What's the best practice?
Some like to walk through it together. You can absolutely do it together on the platform. It's probably the best way. But we instruct you to focus on only the companies you are interested in. So when it comes to selecting them, we essentially just have you focus on your number 1 choices, like your number 1 draft picks, and then your number 2 choices. So anybody that's not of interest, out of the realm of, somebody that doesn't qualify, someone that doesn't meet your needs, you don't have to focus on them. So you're really narrowing it down to those you focus on. And then once you're in the platform, we have you put them into 2 different buckets, your number 1 choices and your number 2. So it's good to do it over Teams. I can also send an Excel sheet that you can pass around and everybody can mark off their individual choices and either send back to me or, provide it to one member from your team to kind of delegate adding it all into the system. Whichever is easier for your team, we're happy to provide. So once we've collected all of the preferences that you've provided for us for the individuals you want meetings scheduled with, my customer success team will work on generating all of these schedules for you, again, with mutual matches, your number 1 choices, your number 2 choices, depending on the time slots and availability between you and all the builders. Once we've created your schedule, we'll be releasing it to you 1 week prior to the event. So you will be getting a complete profile on all of those builders, again, with those data points you saw in the slide prior, but also some additional information. So contact information for all of these builders, physical addresses, email addresses, phone numbers, fun things like their favorite hobby or their favorite sports team. So look over this data, take the time the week before the event to really do the research and get to know these builders. They know they are providing these profiles to us and to you. So they are expecting that you have a little bit of research done on them already. And because you are meeting with individuals at the event, you can really tailor each meeting that you have personally, which you would want to do anyway. So as if you're doing research online ahead of time before a call, same thing, but we're providing all of the information to you.
I think something that's really slept on is that favorite hobby or sports team. Obviously, I'm not trying to say that's the most important information that's on this guest profile, but at the end of the day, these engagements are 15 minutes long, and you want to be able to quickly establish rapport with these executives. So, only bring it up, obviously, if it's something that you can relate to or whatnot, but try to use that stuff for any way that you can.
One thing I just want to say is don't stop at the information that we've provided. Go to the website, look for the shortcomings, the challenges and problems that these builders and multifamily companies might have, and be ready to ask questions that get you to those pain points. So some of that might be evident in what we collect, but some of it's about some additional research. And it's just a matter of doing it. People aren't in the habit of this because their trade show experience is people come at them randomly. They don't know who's going to come. So you wouldn't even think to do this sort of advanced research. This is a different game. You want to be prepared with thoughtful questions that are going to uncover loose bricks with competitor companies or showcase some sort of problem or challenge or need that that company has that you have a solution for.
Yeah, it falls right into kind of our next topic here is do the research, send those intro emails. So, take the time to spend a couple days with those profiles, researching websites, and then do dedicated outreach. We're providing you the contact information. There is no reason not to send them an intro email. You're going to be meeting them in a couple days at the event. If you want to send them a quick video to watch or a quick rundown of your company, just so they can become familiar with you as well. You have all of these profiles and you want an intro. Again, as Colin mentioned, they are only 15 minutes. So they're quick meetings, and whatever you can kind of get out ahead of in front of, use the in-person time to really dig into things. So utilize that week before the event to send intro emails, introduce yourself, your team that's going to be there, your company, just a quick overview. So when you're on site together in person, you can kind of dig in together on it.
Yeah, a lot of these are big companies, and we know that decisions at big companies are a lot of the times made as a group. So I would, we've spent a lot of time and resources getting you some quality VIP executives, but try to identify some other influencers as part of this decision-making process. That's really going to help you engage with the account after the event and really get the rest of the people that are typically involved, part of the decision. Another thing down here at the bottom is important is a video asset goes a long way. If you're going to send one or two emails to these folks before the event, it's really important to have a video asset, because it's going to really heighten the likelihood that someone's going to engage with your email and take in your content. And if that's not something that you have in your repertoire, AE Ventures has some growing content marketing opportunities that will really help.
Moving on to during the event. So taking all of that pre-event planning that we just went over and using it for execution on site at the event. One thing I think we've touched upon a couple times, but is harvesting pain points and capturing next steps. So you are having these face-to-face conversations with however many builders. It's, a tight schedule with the boardroom presentations to small groups where you may not get the opportunity to meet with everyone individually, but also the booth where you are meeting with individuals and stop by traffic. So these next steps forms are something that's been kind of in our lineup for a while now. We provide them a template that you can edit yourselves, or you can simply customize anything for your needs, but make sure you're including things such as, the opportunity for the builders to take notes, whether during your boardroom presentation, as you're presenting that 35 minutes, or even at your booth. Allow them to, write down if there's touch points during your presentation that have piqued their interest, that they want to learn about more, or their calendar availability. As Colin mentioned before, if you have additional people that they want to bring into the next conversation, capturing that contact information so you can send calendar invites post-event. Just a way to capture all of these pain points that you are harvesting during these conversations. It's only going to help you post-event when you are trying to do follow-up.
I think the particular use case here is for the boardrooms, right? Because that's where you've got a group of 8 to 12 guests for 35 minutes. And it's impossible to individually arrange next steps and meeting times with 12 people unless that's all you want to do with your 35 minutes. And that's not our recommendation. But what you can do is take the last 2 or 2.5 minutes to hand these forms out and ask folks to complete them, and then station yourself at the door, and as they leave, collect them. Do you know what the number one way to qualify an opportunity is? To see if they will agree to have a next step with you in a specific time and with a specific purpose. If they won't, if they're hemming and hawing around that, you haven't gotten to first blush pain or recognition of need, which you're going to need to turn this stuff into real opportunities.
So moving on to some of the outlines and logistics of how these one-on-ones and boardrooms go. So a one-on-one meeting, we've been talking about it the last couple minutes here, but logistics and setup, these are those 15-minute meetings at your booth space with individuals that you've selected and we've created meetings for. This is just a general outline of the 15 minutes. We've kind of gone over a little bit about what you should be including in that meeting, but for those who have never done an in-person 15-minute quick event like this and more used to the trade show style events, this just breaks down how to utilize the time. So discovery, spending, a better part of the first half of the meeting, trying to reveal those pain points with builders, getting them to talk, interact with you. The more that you can get them to talk and uncover the needs of their business or what they're struggling with, it's only going to help you in the second half of the meeting where you can pull out things that will help alleviate those pain points or where your product or service fits in to what they're struggling with. So the more you can get them to talk, don't just focus on being sales forward and getting as much of your business out there as possible in the beginning. You really want to uncover those loose bricks with these builders. And then just saving that last minute or two for that next step, those next steps forms we just talked about, but capturing contact information for additional stakeholders, calendaring time if you've talked about it. Don't hesitate to pull out the calendar right then and there and add something to the calendar if you've talked about it. Again, it's going to be your sure sign that they're interested in moving forward with continuing the conversation.
Yeah, I think what's important here, back to the discovery piece, is the show me you know me, if you will. You want to have great questions prepared ahead of time for each of your meetings. And please don't have just the same generic ones for every single meeting. Show that you took the time to understand their company and as much about their situation as you could glean into, and have some specific questions based off of what you were able to find ahead of time. That's going to be able to, really, really be a catalyst for a strong conversation and get you further down the line to, again, that crucial next step.
So going into boardroom presentations, these are those sponsors who have boardroom presentations with us. They are those 35 minutes to a group of those 8 to 12 guests. The way that the logistics and setup will be is we will put them in a private meeting room for you. We will bring the group and deliver them to you, and there'll be a screen and projector provided. So as far as setup goes, you are really only focusing on bringing a laptop with your presentation to hook up to the projector. If you want to bring any small product display in there, you are more than welcome. Literature handout, especially those next steps forms that we talked about. But you do only have a couple minutes for setup before the next sponsor takes over for their presentation. So similarly to the outline of that one-on-one meeting, we've taken 3 different approaches to boardroom outlines just to get you thinking of what you can do with that 35 minutes. Obviously, that time is up to you, and we're here to help if you have or want some opinions from us on the boardroom presentation substance. Don't hesitate to send it to us, or get on a call and pick our brains of what you should be including in these presentations or what builders are looking for when they're sitting in on these boardrooms. But a few different outlines and ways to go about it is kind of this presentation theme of what you're already doing in the industry. So if you're already working with the current builder and you have proof of performance of what's already working and how you are helping them showcase what you are already doing. So it may be a competitor in the room and they're seeing that you're already working with them and what they're doing. So if you have case studies that you can showcase of what you're already doing in the industry, that's one way to go about it. And keeping in mind at the end of all of these, you'll see just that time for that next step.
What I like to say is builders do what other builders do. Multifamily companies do what other it's bandwagon effect. It's marketing and selling 101, right? If you could show them that you've had success with somebody that's like them, that's in their shoes, they're going to give you a lot more consideration than if you're coming at it cold with a set of features and benefits that aren't proven.
Yeah, all these companies are our peers. So one of our new mantras is don't leave money on the table. And if you're seeing another builder that's taking advantage of this opportunity and they're seeing dramatic results, that's going to incentivize the builders who aren't doing it to really want to catch up.
So another way is to focus on your products and services alone. So just going over your product line, if you have any potential new products that have hit to market that that builders may not be aware of or customers may not be aware of, if you have additions or updates and upgrades to your softwares, just going over new process supports that have come to market. If you're a newer company, kind of just getting your name out there and showcasing who you are. Again, one thing that a lot of our sponsors struggle with or forget is to include those process supports. So, you have competitors in the manufacturing side of things. But what's really going to set you apart from them is all of the process and services that you provide in addition to your products. So like our customer success team is in addition to our events. We're here to help you. So what else do you offer besides your product line? And what else do you offer to help builders get your products and services integrated into their new projects? And what do you do for the home and end user? Whatever kind of additional elements you can provide to showcase you are more than just the product is what's going to help stand you apart from competitors.
And if anybody's unclear about what we're talking about in process supports, what we have done is we've developed idealized process collaboration processes for each of the 6 segments that we address at this event. So that's kind of a thought starter for you in where you might provide support, whether that's on the selling and marketing side of things to get lift for homes or get options sold through at higher rates, or the design and production thing to make things more efficient and streamlined in the production process, and then the onboarding side of things. And we've got a whole different set of processes for the institution of solutions, but we can give you those thought starters, and that will give you an idea of the categories of process supports that you might want to talk about.
Yeah, this service and support programs, this is something that I really think is underutilized as part of overall features and benefits set of a product or service. A lot of the times, the unstated objections will lie in the service and support programs. Builders sometimes don't want to use, a new product because they're worried that it will be unreliable, or they're worried that they're going to spend more time, servicing it than being able to capitalize on it. So that's really the backbone, or part of the backbone of your offer.
And the last boardroom outline that we've kind of provided is focusing on new products and programs, but making it more interactive. So if you are in the development of a new product or service or an enhancement to existing products, and you want to gain the feedback of these knowledgeable individuals that are prospective customers, make it interactive. Start a Q&A, get their feedback to help with future features and benefits of these products that you're launching or trying to improve on. These are going to be future customers. So why not get the feedback straight from the individuals to help you with the development of these?
Well, you could go pure focus group if you wanted to, but I like them being dual purposed for focus group and kind of pilot program hunting, because there are early adopters in our audience who are they want to be the first use case on it because they feel like they're going to get ahead of their competitors and they're going to get an edge. And so sometimes you can get feedback, and at the same time you can find somebody who says, yeah, I want to be your beta tester on this because we're going to learn together on it. And you can find those at our events. So that it's kind of a little bit of a hybrid approach.
Yeah, I like using, a small portion of the time for things like this across any boardroom. There's, it's really difficult. I doubt anywhere any other form factor except the Tech Home Builder and Housing Transformation Summit are you getting a group of like-minded builders and or multifamily companies together. And you really want to ask engaging questions about, their use cases of a particular product category, or, what common pain points that they have. Even if you have a well oiled machine, it's really great to continue to refine and understand how the market is changing and how you can continue to refine and change your positioning to align with those.
So moving on to post-event and what you should be doing now that you've planned for the event, executed on site with us, and how you should shift your focus to when you get back to the office and post-event. So here we have our strategic overview of our running list of do's and don'ts, which we've really been working on the last couple of months, especially because we've been hearing feedback from existing customers of ours that they are struggling post-event. Where can we help? So much like we mentioned earlier, you wouldn't send a generic mail merge to these customers. You are having these personal face-to-face conversations with customers. You have their profiles, making sure that you're approaching it the same way as you do in person with your post-event follow-up, and having something ready to go. Don't get back to the office, try and catch up, wait 3 weeks, send a generic marketing email, one phone call, and expect a call back. It's not going to work that way. It doesn't work for us either. Be as repetitive as you can in your messaging. So whatever you are using in your email campaigns, keep the same alignment in your phone call strategy as well, but having something ready to go, emailing or outlining a campaign. That way, once you get back to the office, you can fire it off right away to keep these conversations going. If you've talked about calendar availability and invites, send those invites immediately. Make sure they accept. Get on the phone with them if they don't, if that time doesn't work for them, if they need a new time to discuss additional stakeholders. Just kind of our do's and don'ts of follow up.
Yeah, I think on the one-on-one meetings, just like to go back to the execution on site, there's two things you're trying to do. You're trying to find that pain point, and you're trying to close the next step. Right now, what's important is when you find that pain point, you got to document that right away. If you're going to rely on your memory to retrieve that pain point after you've had 50 discussions at the event and are flat on your back, exhausted, it's not going to happen. So you have to have the practice of recording that pain point, and then that needs to be replayed to the guests that you've met with. You have to remind them of the pain point that they articulated. That's the foundation of the email that confirms the next step. You got to keep taking them back to what their need is, right? And unfortunately, in our world of people distracted from distraction by distraction, we have to have these repetitions. And I know we're going to get into a little more detail, but it needs to be paired emails and phone calls, not just one and not the other. And there needs to be a cadence or frequency to it in order for the action to be netted.
If you don't know how to start the conversation post-event, or you're not sure how to set up a cadence, or timing of how spread out these should be, let us help you. We have templates that we'd be happy to provide to you for context and content, when you should be sending them, how often you should be following up.
Yeah, we could give you outlines for action. We can give you sample stuff. We could brainstorm with you. There are also, even though we lay out kind of an idealized process, we understand that it's hard to hit an idealized process, and there's going to be imperfections. And sometimes, for whatever reason, you aren't going to get to a pain point. That doesn't mean that there isn't a way to, after the fact, get to pain with the way that you communicate, right? So we're happy to work creatively with you all to try to keep these conversations going and make them productive.
Yeah, it's a kind of a running joke around the office. I don't want to just see you once. I want that long-term relationship. I kind of often refer to our sponsors as my people. I want to take care of you guys. Our team is here for you. Or, if we need to make introductions to people that you've lost contact with, we have the relationships with these builders and multifamily companies. Don't hesitate to ask for additional services from us. We're here for you. We're not here for us.
Echoing what both of you said, just we're here. We have the support. It's up to you guys to take advantage of the support that we're here to provide for you. At the end of the day, your success is our success, and we want to make sure that you're able to do everything that you can to see that ROI and get as much value out of this as possible.
Every one of our clients on the sponsor side of things is an innovation-driven company at some level. You can't survive if you're not. And innovation is hard. And innovation with these process-driven, kind of stuck in their ways builders and multifamily companies is particularly challenging. We've talked about our builder innovator brand being an oxymoron, right? But the reality is we just all need to work harder and more collaboratively to get this stuff done. It will be good for our businesses. It will be good for us personally, and we will have achieved something together as an industry. So I do hope you'll engage deeply with us and work with us at whatever level. And we don't have all the answers. You might have some of the answers that you're going to share with us. It is a collaboration where everybody contributes, some wisdom into how to get things done better. So I hope we can do that.
That wraps up everything. Thank you for the time, and we look forward to working with you and your team either now or on future events.